Welcome back, ladies and gents. Welcome back. Welcome back. Happy Monday morning to you. Happy rebalancing Monday morning to everybody out there. My name is Joseph James. I got my good friend and colleague Marty Errico here with me from Traders Audio, and welcome back to our Crude Oil Squawk, our morning prep broadcast. We're going from the screen to the floor this morning in a very unique and effective way to kickstart your trading week, your trading day, and hopefully your trading career. Once again, my name is Joseph James. I'm from the SchoolOfTrade.com. I moderate a live trade room and operate a membership to traders from all over the world. Come out and see me Monday through Friday at 8 a.m. Eastern Time, and we'll give you a walkthrough of how we do it all. There's a free trial right on our website. And, of course, I'm a technical analyst this morning, which means I'm looking at charts, right? I'm a technical guy here in my home office in Los Angeles. I'm going to start today with a daily chart and work my way down. I'll provide you with a top-down approach. Top-down approach means we're using multiple time frames. Multiple time frames means we're going to get a big picture, right, all the way down to what happened overnight. We'll see what happens coming out of London this morning. Very important, I'm trading the U.S. morning session. So for me, the session that is previous to that is the London trading session. So I'll be talking a little bit about the London trading session. And then, of course, we can't forget, once I figure out what the big picture tells me, and then we analyze what the small picture tells me, my job then it becomes relatively easy. I'm going to anticipate the direction at the open. See, if I can anticipate the direction at the open of the morning, I can look for high percentage trading opportunities at previously defined support and resistance. So together, we're going to work together today, and we're going to find some support and resistance levels. And then combining that with the direction at the open, we're going to have some high percentage trading opportunities at 8 o'clock this morning. So my job is pretty simple today, guys. Top-down approach. I'm looking at charts. Well, you know what, though? I'm not going to be too confident in my approach until I hear what's happening on the exchange. Because, you know, I'm here in Los Angeles, and I'm really curious every morning to see what Marty's going to be seeing with his feet on the ground on the NYMEX exchange. This is a really important part of our morning because Marty's going to come in and possibly demolish everything that I said and correct us on what he's seeing on the floor, right, directly from the trading floor. So very important. We're listening into Marty Errico. He's over at TradersAudio.com. Check him and his partner Jeffrey out at 8:50 a.m. Eastern Time for a broadcast every morning directly from the trading floor. And, of course, the pit analysis that Marty will be providing us this morning, we're looking at market direction, intermarket divergence, market internals, of course, specific option prices, and as always, those very important and sometimes elusive pit session trading levels. So don't forget to pay attention to those pit session trading levels because many times they are different than the levels we have on our screens. All right, guys, let's jump right into it here this morning. Now that you've got the layout for today's call, let's jump right in. I want to take a first look at the news today. Now, I made a comment earlier that said, happy rebalancing Monday. Rebalancing Monday. Let's talk about that for a second. Now, the first thing we have to do each morning, if we're trading crude, nat gas, E-minis, currencies, I don't care whether we're trading hot air balloons and airspace, guys. I've got to know if there's news today. I need to know the schedule ahead of me today so I can get out of the way ahead of this major news coming out. Or maybe there is no major news at all, and that might be a big clue within itself. So let's take a look at the news here this morning, and when we start out looking at the news, we always remind ourselves what day of the week is it. Today's a Monday. What week of the month is it? This is the fourth week of the month, right? And what month of the year of July, right? Today's a Monday. It's the fourth week of the month, and it's the month of July. Now, why do we ask ourselves these questions? Well, because when you think about it, all of these have a specific personality that comes along with it. So let's first think, it's a Monday morning. A first thing I think about on a Monday morning is, let's take it easy today. Let's not rush things. Mondays are notorious for being a little bit slow and sloppy before we get started. In other words, the same reason why you wanted your weekend to be one day longer is exactly why other traders would like their weekend to be one day longer. The reason why you are a little bit distracted coming back to your desk, right, thinking about family and what you did this weekend and forgetting about your job, right? It's the same reason why traders take a little bit longer to get back into the swing of things on Monday morning, right? So one of the things we love about trading is we can put ourselves in other people's shoes, and whatever we're thinking right now and whatever we're feeling, other traders will do as well. So Mondays, notorious for being a little bit sloppy and sluggish before we get started on a Monday morning. Now let's think about the week of the month of the year. What week is it? It's the 4th week of the month. Now, that may not sound like a lot of information or important information, but when we recall what happens in the 3rd week of the month, what happens in the 3rd week of the month? Options expire, right? The 3rd Friday of every 1 month, options expire. The 3rd Friday of every 3 months, 4 different asset classes expire. We call that quad witching. We just went through triple witching, or options expiration, last Friday. That means today is the Monday after OPEX Friday. What does that tell us, guys? Well, OPEX Friday, what happens? Everybody's managing their portfolios. Traders are moving things around, getting out of positions, entering into positions, so they can, of course, be ready for when options expire on Friday. Well, now the following morning comes in. We're back to our desks with another month ahead of us before options expire again. Put yourself in the traders' positions now, and as you can imagine, they're going to be getting back and participating today. So a Monday morning, by the 4th week of the month, I think we're going to have some opportunities today. As traders come into the market, they have no choice but to participate because they've liquidated positions last week ahead of options expiration. Okay. So now here we are in the month of July. What month of the year is it? Okay, we know what day of the week. We know what week of the month. The month of the year, the month is July, and July is a summertime month. Much different than if this was January or if it was May or if it was November, right? A summertime month, no. That does not mean we can't trade. I don't know who always says that, but summertime months I find to be just as profitable as other months during the year. Yes, you have to adjust your strategy just a little bit, and yes, you will get your head handed to you if you trade it like any other month of the year. And that's exactly why we focus on this, to reference this when we first get started. What does a summertime month remind me to do? It reminds me to get in early and get out early. I'm not going to get those trades early in the morning and late in the day. I'm not going to get those trades to run, right, with big, huge ranges like we would under normal conditions during the year. So in a summertime month, we have to remind ourselves, take our money quickly, move those profit targets into conservative, ranges this morning, and we're going to take the money to the bank. We never know when our last trade of the morning is going to come on a summertime Monday morning. Now, the last thing we have to see here today is the news that we have this morning. So a summertime Monday, the 4th week of July, we know what the market personalities tells us. Now think about what news we have. I'm going to set my alarm clock. I'm going to remind myself it's a Red Star News Day, and I'm going to trade accordingly. So what does that mean, guys? Well, first of all, we have a Red Star News event at 10 o'clock this morning. A Red Star News event is really simple. It's the most important, it's the market-moving news events that we look forward to every day, that we know is going to get traders participating, that we know is going to get those traders reacting to the news, that we know is going to most likely result in some extra volume in the market and some extra volatility in the market. Compare that to tomorrow, and you'll notice there's no Red Star news tomorrow. So we look at the calendar today. We know we've got 10 a.m. existing home sales. This is a major Red Star news event. There's nothing specific to crude oil or specific to nat gas, which will come later on in the week, Wednesday and Thursday. But we look at this, though, and we know it's a summertime Monday. Take it easy getting started. We know it's the Monday after OPEX, which means don't be surprised if we see some extra volatility or some wider trading ranges today. And at the same time, we have this major Red Star news event today at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. That tells me most likely the most volatility and the highest percentage trades we see, which will be with the best market personality, will likely come after the opening bell this morning at 9:30 in the U.S., will most likely come in after the 10 a.m. existing home sales news is released. So we will be expecting to see the meat and potatoes here this morning after the opening bell. However, I'm still going to be looking for trades. We do know, though, this news is giving us a lot of information, right? Day of the week, week of the month, month of the year, and what do we have to look for today? I've got one Red Star news event. It's happening after the opening bell. be patient as we get started with our Monday morning here in the summertime week. And let's take a look here at some charts now. Now that I know what my news is, I'll set my alarm clock accordingly. Let's jump over now. I want to start with a daily chart here today on crude because the daily chart's important. We look at the daily chart and immediately we see we're sitting up at resistance here on that bull channel. We've got the daily chart of crude telling us right away here, be careful, be careful, be careful. Now, price has a bull channel, a somewhat sideways bull channel. We are near two levels of resistance right now, guys. If I mark this as a symmetry pattern, we can see we have a symmetrical move here in price. So we know that there is resistance overhead to begin with. On top of that, we also can see here a sell zone up around the 110, and we can see that we have successfully tested the highs of that channel, but when you look a little bit closer at this, you'll notice that we have indeed pulled off those highs, right? We've got Sunday and, of course, now Monday. So Friday afternoon, OPEX Friday, last Friday afternoon, we did test those highs up around 109. And, of course, this morning we can see here we have pulled off those highs a little bit. So we can expect to see some major resistance up around the 109.7, 109.5, up to 110. We do have symmetry, top of the channel, and we do have a sell zone waiting for us overhead. So be aware of that. The daily chart really just tells me the story. It tells me what's happened leading up to today's price action. Now let's move forward here to a little bit more realistic for a day trader. I'm a day trader, which means I'm going to be exiting my positions overnight. I'm not holding trades overnight. I'm taking trades intraday. So a daily chart for me probably not going to be the best fit for specific price levels and how I'm going to be actually profiting from this market, right? It's nice to look at. What do we see here on the 60-minute chart? Well, we can see the same type of scenario, same bullish sentiment, although this, of course, being a much more recent bull channel. We can see the short-term bull channel. Now, remember, what does a bull channel tell me? A bull channel tells me two things, buying pullbacks and buy at the lows. Two things on a bull channel. New higher highs, I'm buying pullbacks. The next thing we know is the high percentage trades will occur when we buy the lows of this bull channel. What does this tell me? This tells me that if we happen to jump to new highs here, I can and will be buying pullbacks. It also tells me that if price collapses and gets down to this 107.20 area, 107.15 area, we will then be looking for a buy here at these lows. Now, oftentimes what happens is we'll get down and we'll find a W pattern at these lows, and we'll use that to be the buy. Oftentimes what will happen is we'll end up collapsing down in the case to 107, and then when we start to rise again, we'll then begin buying pullbacks as we come in off these lows. So whether we use a wave pattern or a two-step pattern, members, you should know what I'm talking about, a wave pattern or a two-step pattern, we will be looking for an entry pattern around these lows. Bottom line though, bull channel tells me buying is the high percentage. But we look at this and we see, well, boy, there is a pretty narrow trading range on this, right? You can see that really narrow range. Let's take a look now at a little bit faster time frame. Let's jump now from a 5-minute down to, from a 60-minute down to a 5-minute, because I have a funny feeling we're going to be able to see a little bit more action off of this narrowing price action. There we go. Now we look at a 5-minute chart, and this 5-minute chart does show us quite a bit of information, even though it is relatively cluttered. You can see that whenever we trade on top of each other, right, whenever we trade within ranges for multiple days, we start to get a lot of these levels that are lining up on top of each other each morning. And one of the things we see on the 5-minute chart is there's that narrow range, right? If you're saying, where is the range? I know it's difficult to see it on this chart. You can see this narrow trading range as we open up on a brand new week here ahead of us. A narrow trading range tells me indecisive personality, lack of confidence in the buyers, the sellers. Guys, think about it. If the buyers or sellers were confident in buying or selling, they would be doing that right now and would be making either new higher highs or new lower lows. As we can see it right now, we are trading inside the short-term trading range, right? Short-term trading range, inside the short-term trading range. We're also trading inside the range from last Friday. You can see there's the high up there at 108.93. Don't forget, that is the weekly high. That is the prior week's high there at 108.93. So keep that in mind. We go all the way down to the lows here, 106.91. That's the low from Friday. And you can see we are right in the middle. Now, members, keep in mind, what does this tell us? When I'm inside the range from yesterday, right, we think about this just like market personality, or excuse me, market profile, right? So think about this in terms of market profile. Above the value area, we're bullish. Below the value area, we're bearish. Where are we in relationship to yesterday's range or to Friday's range? We are inside of it. Above the range, we're bullish. Below the range, we're bearish. Where are we? We are inside. We are neutral right now. So the 5-minute chart shows me a narrow trading range, a neutral market personality. What's the plan with this? The plan is to use this narrow trading range as a very big clue and to treat this narrow range with respect, right? To remember that a narrow range means to use relatively conservative profit targets and stops, right? Narrow stops, relatively narrow targets. We'll leave a runner on the table as always for trading trading crude, but for the most part though, we're going to treat this narrow range as a big clue. Take that money quickly here. Now, as this range begins to evolve and as this range begins to widen later on today, we will see it in the price action and we will adjust. Again, we talked about 10 o'clock for that first Red Star news event. So 10 a.m. this morning, be ready for that first news of the day, and we should then start to see these ranges widen out a little bit. Looking at this a little bit closer, we can see the reversal zones. Now, the reversal zones are very important because coming in overnight, we can see that this is the overnight trading range. If we break below the overnight trading range, we are bearish. If we get above the overnight trading range, we're bullish. If we trade inside the overnight trading range, we are neutral. What's happening right now? We are neutral. What does that mean? That means I'm towards the lows of this range right now. I will be buying these lows. If we can break below this level, right, I will then look to sell. Just be careful, though, when you're selling short. We do have trend lines here below us that will act as magnets and will act as support. So if you do want to sell short, do not sell short directly into these trend lines because they will act as major support this morning. As we go higher, going higher though, now again, like I said earlier, I would like to buy right now being towards the lows of the range, and you can see we are near the lows of the channel, right, this new short-term channel. We will take our profit off at the top of the range up at this price reversal, and then again, once we get above that range, now I'm looking to buy pullbacks because we will most likely be hunting for that 108.93. If we get above 108.93, I've got 109.21 as one final level of resistance overhead. You can see here all the levels marked up overhead. Anything above the price reversal zone, and these are targets. Anything below the price reversal zone, and these are targets. And as always, two-sided trading Monday morning here, summertime Monday. No major news until after the opening bell. Narrow range on the tape. Inside the range from yesterday. This is screaming two-sided trading here, guys. This is screaming two-sided trading with a narrow range. I'll be trading relatively conservatively this morning before we get that first news of the week. I'll be waiting for market personality clues. I'll be looking to buy these lows here until we get below that 107 or 108 even. Then I can start looking for trades short. But again, I'm worried about those trend lines here. So I'm looking to get long here at this major support at 108 with that trend line. But you know what? I'm curious to see what Marty's seeing out there this morning. We took a look at the news today. We took a look at some dailies. We took some hourlies and now some minute charts. I'm seeing some narrow ranges, some two-sided trading. But, boy, I'm always anxious to hear what Marty's seeing here. Marty, happy Monday to you. I hope you had a great weekend. I know that weekend was a little bit too short, like for the rest of us here. But what are you seeing out there this morning? Are you seeing this sleepy price action, narrow ranges too?
Hey, good morning, JJ. So happy Monday to all. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, right now you can obviously see that we are pretty much in a very sideways range night session, slightly higher, right? But overall, on a Monday morning, we're always going to wait and focus to see where we open in the pit session, right? That's pretty important to me, at least, where we open in the pit session. And what I'm personally focusing on here is going to be that 108 level, right? So we have a couple levels here, but first let's just get to the most important here. Again, I got that 108 to 120 range here. Again, that's 108 to 108.20 range that I'm going to be looking for a pit session opening bell above. So if we can open up above 108 to 108.20, we can continue to be bullish all the way back up to the higher end of our price channel, right, to the upside. So again, I'm going to be looking for opening pit session level above 108, even the 108.20. Now, what we're going to do now is we're going to take a look across the board, all our usual suspects, before we kind of take a broader base look across the board. Let's put it that way. So let's take a look all at our usual suspects, then we'll take a little bit of a broader based view across the board, and then what we will do is we will continue on and give you guys the word down here. So without a doubt, we have been watching just some decent activity even on the 240-minute chart again, but we'll get to that in a minute as well. I just want you guys to know that we're going to be covering that. So here we are now on a Monday morning, July 22nd. You can see I have slightly sideways ranges here across the board. Again, that's in your crude and your RBOB heating oil, and in the Brent this morning again. We have your crude right now kind of holding in between, right in between those major levels that I was speaking about, right in between the 108 even up to 108.20 in that range. Right now we trade around the 14s in the front month SEP contract. If you look with me here, you'll see that Brent also holding levels around 108.20 actually in the SEP contract. So look at that. The difference between Brent and WTI, about 7 cents. Now, we're going to get to that. That was the story of the week last week. It's where all the chatter is, and this affects crude in a huge way, and we'll explain how. All right, real quickly, RBOB right now trading in around 304, 305 even. Again, I'm a 309 half bid also on the heating oil. Overall, we're higher just about a penny across the board in the products, and crude's about 25 cents to a $0.50 higher. So our spreads this morning here, we look at the Brent WTI spread, and without a doubt, this has been the story of the week. We've been watching now the spread come back to parity. Now, up until about 3 years ago, the WTI was always the global benchmark, and it was always firm and stronger than the Brent. All of a sudden, we come into play 3 years ago, and we start to watch now the Brent firm and strong becoming the global benchmark, and all of a sudden, we're watching this influence from Brent like it's some important type of influence from the overseas markets. Well, that was just up until 3 years ago. WTI was always stronger, always trading above. The spread was always negative and always above, below parity. Right now, we have the spread working its way down from 25 bucks all the way now down to zero. I'm talking about the Brent WTI spread. When this spread tightens up, right? When it tightens up, when it's in contango, that's bullish for crude. So you can see this whole entire rally up, the spread has been tightening up. We're at zero on the spread right now, and the WTI is about to take over globally now, and it's going to be very firm here. So again, you have to realize that it's going to be above. It's going to be the U.S. It's going to be the global benchmark as it was just up until 3 years ago when the Brent took over. Okay, so right now we are continuing to watch that spread come in. We're talking about 6 cent spread, almost at zero parity, and we're going to keep an eye on that here as we kind of come into this week, as this is going to be a big topic. All right, we're talking about also now your calendar spreads, rather bullish sideways today, overall a little bullish here as we look at now your SEP OX, SEP Novi, SEP DEES. So we're all bullish on the spread front, slightly sideways to bullish on the crude RBOB heating oil Brent. Let's continue on. Vol here, ladies and gentlemen, holding steady and firm this morning, 25%, which is bullish. Again, I get your implied volatility about 25%, which is bullish. With the spreads tightening up, that's also bullish. So again, we are looking at two bullish factors. Let's take a look at the currencies real quickly here. As always the case, we like to look at our supply-demand differential and the spreads, and then we also like to look at our currency differential and our risk-on, risk-off sentiment. So your dollar this morning, as we take a look at your dollar, we're down about just close to about 40 points here on the dollar index. I got 82.44 even just trading right now, and that dollar index is lower overall in the day, as I mentioned, by about 20 points, 40 ticks. Again, 20 points, 40 ticks. As you can see, the crude's up just about 30 ticks as well. So you can see risk on sentiment, put a big old check mark and put yes there, because we do have a risk on sentiment. As the dollar's lower, the rest of our commodity currencies higher, along with our commodities, gold markets, equity markets, all trading higher. So since we do have a risk on sentiment, we're going to be leaning on the dollar a little bit today to use that inverted correlation, and we're going to be leaning on the stock market. We're going to be leaning on volatility to see all these markets kind of confirm with each other. All right, guys, in the pit, it's been a little light. We've been talking about the SCS broker. My good friend Tommy's been telling me a little bit about his order flow, and the big guys from London basically out of the market at the moment. We have some of our larger market participants kind of just easing out for the summer, of course, so we have been watching just a little bit of less than heightened activity, we should say, throughout on the trading floor, and even on the screen. Again, you'd notice volume's a little lower, barely breaking 200,000, and open interest as well. So this morning, open interest currently stands at about 270. Oh no, we'll get to that. 279,562. But we have a little bit of a net change here, so we'll get to that. All right, let's rock and roll. Take a look at these charts real quickly. As I was mentioning, now we do have a little bit of a resistance zone. We need to open up above these 108.20s to get anything started to the upside to continue this uptick here and to possibly trade up to these targets that we have. Again, we're going to have to trade above this resistance zone here of 108, even the 108.20 to trade higher. Again, we have 108.95, right? 108.95. I got 109.96 as some targets to the upside. Again, overall, this is going to be the high end of our channel. Traders in the pit still target that 110 level here. Again, they buy the 110 call along with some other upside like 112, 115, and 120. Overall, on the downside, the pit doesn't really kind of like the downside. We saw huge paper buyers into the closing bell on Friday. Big, significant paper buying into the close as we had this huge run up here into the pit session close. Again, right here is a pit session chart, right? And you can see here the last about last 20 minutes of trade, this huge run up. Again, this is all paper buyer. It's Goldman, SCS, it's New Edge, it's Paramount, it's all the major SCS, JP, all major players to the upside. All right, real quickly, just moving over to natural gas before we do our levels here. You can see now natural gas overall trading back lower off the high end of its wedge, right? You see the wedge up. You see the wedge that we have here, guys, in your natural gas, right? And overall, you can see that when we're trading off the higher end of our wedge, right? Higher end of the wedge we just sold off. And now you can see if you basically just take a fib with me here, sorry about that, guys. If you take a fib with me here and you just go from basically high to low, you would see that our pullbacks right here, the 50% pullback, 61.8% pullback in between 370, even 372. All right, so what happens here? We could be looking for some buying opportunities off the 370 even, right? 372. We're going to be looking for a little bit of a buying opportunity. If we happen to trade below that, our next level we want to keep an eye on here, right? The next level that we want to keep an eye on here. So we're going to try to buy this support here again at 370 even. If that doesn't work, we're going to be watching these two levels here: 369.70, 386, 368.60. Sorry guys, I couldn't see that. We're going to be looking to buy these support levels. If these both fail, then we'll easily see the lower end of our channel here: 363.40, 367.40, and 360 even. We're going to be looking to buy these levels on the way down. Okay, so we're going to be trying to buy the support here across the board on natty gas today, as we are now firming up here just a bit in the spreads and looking rather bullish in volatility here. We'll get to those levels real quickly again and give you guys a better opportunity on what to buy here. As you can see, again, across the board we are looking a little bullish. Natural gas we're looking bullish as well, but first we have to have a little bit of a bearish tone to get down to those support levels to buy, of course, right? Alrighty, let's get down to these levels here on July 22nd for you crude, ladies and gentlemen. What I got for you here, pit session high from Friday, I got that 108.82, and that 108.82 is going to be a pretty important level of resistance above our first level that we're going to have to break above, right? So that's going to be important. I also have 108.89 that's going to act as some double resistance right there at the highs. We have the pit session high from yesterday and our R1 that's going to act as double resistance. So it may be a little challenging once we get up towards the higher end of that range, the 108.82, 108.89. It might be a little challenging. That might be acting as some very firm resistance. So again, we're going to have to keep an eye on that if we open up above the 108.20s, right? Alrighty, guys. So once again, pit session high 108.82, low, ladies and gentlemen, from yesterday 106.92, and I mean to say Friday when I say yesterday. Closing settlement number, I got 105.95, 107.95. Today your daily pivot 107.90, but resistance up above at 108.89, 109.81, and 111.72. I also would like to add in one other level here. I have 110.23, right? Support down below, ladies and gentlemen, I got for you here. I got that 106.98, 105.99 and 104.08. Again, open interest 287,772 is where it currently stands, and that's actually a little bullish here, showing us that they're shorting, closing out some short positions, right? Squeezing out the short positions, we could say. Overall, we are watching implied volatility tick around 24 to 25% this morning, with the OVX closing and settling Friday's session at 24.08. Alrighty, guys, options activity here. You can see that upside activity and all those calls to the upside, not so much in the put side. Alrighty, guys, now talking about natural gas pit session high from Friday's trade here. I got 381.10, low 376.10, close and settlement number 379.10. Once again, that's a 379.10 for you guys. Daily pivot right at the close and settlement number. What a coincidence. 379 even is going to be your daily pivot with resistance above at 381.90, 384 even, and 389 even. I got support down below at 376.90, 374 even, and 369 even. Again, those are your levels for your natural gas overall. Right now, we're trading at 371.5 here on your natural gas. You can see the downtick that we had associated with the overnight trade and associated with this morning's trade as we're approaching major levels that we were going to try to buy. Alrighty, guys, that's about it for me. I'm going to throw it back over to JJ here in Los Angeles. And I hope everybody has a wonderful day. Good trading to y'all.
You too, Marty. Thank you so much. As always, pleasure to have you here with us today. Broadcasting live directly from the NYMEX Exchange, guys. That was Marty Errico from Traders Audio. Don't forget to join Marty and his partner Jeffrey every morning at 8:50 a.m. Eastern Time. That's right. Go over to tradersaudio.com. Check out Marty and his partner Jeffrey. They have the crude oil squawk with nat gas as well. And of course, you can contact me. I'm JJ at School of Trade. I'm over at SchoolOfTrade.com. You can drop me a line anytime you need here for questions or to join our free trial. I want to thank you so much for watching today. Thanks for listening in. Thanks for joining us on a rebalancing Monday morning's edition of our crude oil morning prep. We're on a 23-hour and 30-minute break, and we'll see you guys here for a Tuesday edition. We'll be back here in about 23 hours and 30 minutes time, guys, for another edition of our crude oil morning prep. Hope you saw value today. Hope you learned a little bit today, and I hope you earned something with it. Don't forget to come out and see us again tomorrow morning. Thank you to Marty and the whole team at Traders Audio. Thank you each and every one of you for making this broadcast a possibility, and don't forget to send me your feedback so we can always be improving this. Charts have been updated on our blog this morning. Have yourself a great Monday morning out there, everybody. Happy Monday. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Adios, amigos. Bye-bye for now.